Good afternoon, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners County Commissioner meeting for Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019. And by way of introduction, I'm John Hutchings, the chair of the board. To my left is
Gary Edwards,
vice chair. Thank you. And to my right,
Commissioner Ty Menser, District 3.
I'm going to do you now. You do it.
Okay, I'm Lavalita Beaumont, clerk of the board.
And the county manager, Ramiro Chavez, assistant county manager, Robin Campbell, and deputy prosecuting attorney, Elizabeth Pettit. With that, I'm going to turn to Commissioner Menser to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
So if I could ask Fire Chief Greg Wright to lead us, if you would.
I thought you were retired.
That'd be fine.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now look for an approval of today's agenda.
so moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Any additions or deletions, subtractions,
No,
amendments?
sir.
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. We have an agenda and approval for the board meeting minutes from July 16th.
So moved, July 16th, 2019.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 And I'm abstaining because I wasn't here last week. We have the minutes approved. Now we're moving into presentations, and the first one is pretrial services. And we have Mary Ann Claire, do we? Oh, yes, we do. Come up. I'm sorry, Mary Ann. Yay, we have an introduction of a new employee.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
It's my pleasure to
Be sure you speak right into that microphone.
It's my pleasure to introduce Nicole Carbone. She's my newest staff member. She's been here for about a month, and we are very lucky to have her. She's a recent graduate from UW-Tacoma on the criminal justice program. It's a good program. I'm also an alumni from UW-Tacoma. And what I've heard from my staff, which is one of the most important things to me when I have a new hire, is how well Nicole has been fitting in with my team. When I asked them today what I should be saying about her, they wanted me to express how awesome she is. I think that was the quote. But also how quick she's been picking up everything. She's been learning everything that we've been putting in front of her. And I give her a task, she accomplishes it, and asks me, okay, what's next? I look forward to having her help me build the diversion program for Thurston County and do good things for our community.
Wonderful. Nicole, do you have anything to say?
Well, thank you for having me here today. This opportunity is awesome. I'm super excited to be a part of this, and I was kind of reflecting on this position, and we kind of come into a lot of these people's lives kind of in their lows, so I'm excited to hopefully be able to influence and be a part of these individuals' changes in their lives. So thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Any comments?
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to have you. I think all of us are committed to trying to divert as many appropriate cases as we can, because we can get better outcomes that way, but we need more staff capacity to really do it right. And so you're part of that, and so we're really excited to fill your caseload and have you doing good work for Thurston County and our justice system.
Thank you.
Yep, welcome. And you probably, Mary Ann, need a few more Nicoles, I would imagine. But step at a time.
Without a doubt.
Yes, so thank you. And welcome
Thank you
Nicole,
very much.
to the family.
Thank you.
Yay. And don't go away, at least Nicole, or no, at least Mary Ann, because this is a pretrial and probation week proclamation. And we have a proclamation. We'll just go ahead and read it.
Would you like to provide a background on the proclamation?
It's okay.
Yes. And
Okay.
Mike Fenton from Juvenile Administration would like to come up as well. He works with Superior Court and the juvenile probation officers there. And Mike and Jennifer Creighton over with District court, and I see Raul is here as well, Raul Salazar, along with several of the probation officers in district court. We had been talking about National Pretrial Probation and Parole Week and wanted to recognize our staff for the hard work that they do, enhancing our community safety and focusing on their clients that come into their office every day and looking at their needs, the risks, and figuring out how to address them. They remain professional in high-intense situations, and we had talked about this last year and recognizing the work that they do, and we wanted to make sure that we did that as well this year.
Thank you. And Jennifer's not here, or is she? No? Nope. Okay.
I don't believe she could make it today.
And Mike, did you have some words to say, Mike?
Well, I can only echo what Mary Ann has said, and I think you realize the value of what our staff do for the citizens of the county and value the work that probation, parole, and pretrial does. So, and we certainly do appreciate your support on an ongoing basis as well. So thank you, and we're committed to continuing to do the good work.
And you've been here quite some time.
Quite some time.
Yeah, how many quite some? 30-something?
36 years.
Yeah, it's impressive. Thank you, Mike, for what you do. So we have a present or a proclamation to read.
I guess I would like to say that for the public that might be watching out there, these folks make sure that we get folks that really don't necessarily need to be in jail are on the outside trying to do better, participating in our society, trying to contribute. And because of that, we have room for those that really need to be in jail. And I think that's the key, to make a difference between those individuals. So thank you both.
A force for change.
No, that's right. Pretrial and Probation Week. Whereas July 21st through 27 is National Pretrial, Probation, and Parole Supervision Week, a week to commemorate the important work done by pretrial, probation, and parole officers around the world to keep our communities safe. And whereas, as an essential part of the justice system, pretrial and probation professionals are in a unique position to make real differences in people's lives. And whereas pretrial and probation professionals uphold the order of the court with dignity, while recognizing the right of the public to be safeguarded from criminal activity, and whereas pretrial and probation professionals are responsible for supervising adult and juvenile justice involved individuals in the community, and whereas pretrial and probation professionals are trained professionals who promote prevention, intervention, and advocacy while providing services and referrals for justice-involved individuals. And whereas pretrial and probation professionals provide services, support, and protection for victims, as well as advocating community and restorative justice. And whereas pretrial and probation professionals are a true force for positive change in their communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of County Commissioners does hereby proclaim, in observance of National Pretrial, Probation, and Parole Supervision Week, the week of July 21st through 27th, as Pretrial and Probation Week in Thurston County, and urges all citizens of Thurston County to join us in this observance. Signed, your Board of County Commissioners.
Okay. Now, come on up for the presentation, at least the handing off, and photo op. And anybody from your office, Mary Ann, as well. Nicole,
All of you.
Everybody else, come on up.
All of you.
There you go. Yeah. Come on up, getting close.
I got to stand by Mike because I'm the second longest guy. Maybe longer.
Come on back. Why are you so close to the cameraman?
It's all going to work.
Three-dimensional.
Got everybody? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1,
Thank you. No, you didn't. Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you as well. Thank you.
I'm glad I didn't have to read pretrial, probation, parole, professional proclamation. That was quite a tongue
You
twister
just did.
because I didn't have to read the whole thing.
That takes us to item number 1 on the agenda, which is the opportunity for the public to address the board. And first thing is, I want to tell you that the Board of County Commissioners always appreciates the public coming in and sounding off. And but there are some general rules for engagement, and those are that when somebody responds or addresses the board, this is our time to listen, not debate, discuss, ask questions, clarify. If there's any follow-up needed, the county manager or staff will do so. So don't expect us to respond. You're limited to 3 minutes for public comment, and your time cannot be donated to another individual. La Bonita Bormar has the timer, and it starts at 3 minutes and counts down to 0. And when you hear a ping, that means your time is up. But we won't cut you off mid-sentence. Finish your sentence or immediate thought. Please don't take advantage and go another 2 or 3 minutes. And meeting attendees cannot donate their time. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for a good cause. Please silence your cell phones if you haven't done so already. No comments that are lewd or offensive to a reasonable person. We ask you to be respectful. No outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as a promotion for a for-profit business, and nothing that's inflammatory, hateful, or defamatory or discriminatory. Any and all materials you present can be subject to public record and public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act of Chapter 42.56 of the RCW, and remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal would not be appropriate either. So when I ask you to come to the board, or come to the podium rather, I'll ask you to introduce yourself and about where you live in the county, and I will call the first person up, and then I'll announce the name of the person on deck. So we just keep that order, that flow going. So first to come up is John Pettit, followed by Terry Ballard.
If you don't mind standing right here, Terry. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live in East Olympia, Washington, and I consider myself a citizen advocate to try to make sure we get doors open for information. Now, one of the things that's come up recently is a issue about wanting a new courthouse. Well, there may be a lot of undertones about what's really happening with that issue, because while we're concerned about having $250 million in bonds being issued, we're also concerned about having public assets disappear without reason. I prepared this chart over here, and as you can see, the Commission has, within the last 3 years, had a couple different reports. The one is the Ming report, which is up here on the top part, and it shows that he considered what's referred to as the current replacement value of the Hilltop campus here at $108,107,000. Well, about a year later, a particular real estate company who had certain guidelines about their appraisal decided this whole campus, all 6 of these buildings combined, is worth $7,800,000. Well, the fact of the matter is current replacement value is a pretty clear thing, and you had a very good expert up here evaluate things. But it appears there's a huge intent, and it comes right through this whole program that was presented here with the courthouse, that we're going to sell the building here for $7.8 million. That's over $100 million loss in assets to the county. That lies right on you as commissioners, because you're the ones that are responsible to protect the public assets. That's how it works. Keep this little chart in mind, because I sent you all a copy of it. Read it, consider it. Now, there's some other questions, which, thank you, Terry. There's some other questions which I kind of want to know. I mean, everyone talks about the city of Olympia being involved. They don't have any plan to spend $1 in their comprehensive plan or their capital facilities plan currently. You can't spend $30 million when they don't have a plan projected to do it. It's illegal. Why is it that your plan also has it where the county spends all the money for this supposed site, which has contamination issues, I'm sure, and the city doesn't have to pay anything for it? There's no donation from the city towards that. That's part of your plan. I don't get it. And, you know, you need to consider even how much it costs to get a county-wide special election. It's your duty to protect our assets for something that is so wrong as what you're doing with this program to build a new courthouse. You need to kill it and save the county's taxpayers money. Thank you.
Next is Terry Ballard, followed by Shelley Dilworth. Hang on, Terry. There you go, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Terry Ballard, and I live in Tanglewild, which is unincorporated Thurston County. A depleted building number 6 was purchased without an independent appraisal or an inspection in the name of a new courthouse on 18 January of 2017 for $1.8 million. At the time, the market value was $1.29 million. Today's value is it rose from $967,000 to $1.068 million. Wow, that's like a $800,000 increase. Oh, I'm sorry. The building was bought in 2015 by Mr. Drevick. In the name of a courthouse, a survey costing hundreds of thousands of dollars was conducted by Thomas in August of 2015. Is he the only one bidding on this? Because don't we have competitive bidding here? Okay, and it was for $116.8 million on new construction and $79,000 for the reuse of buildings 1, 2, 3, and 5, which totals $196 million. I just wondered if that was a little bit better than what we have for the new courthouse today. Suspicious to me. Sorry, I'm a person who, I'm an equal opportunity employer. Suspicious to me is the name Drevick. Comes to mind in many campaigns, contributions, and that needs to be looked into. Note that Mr. Hutchings here and Edwards started in the year 2017 when the building was bought. I know that this is never about the cause or the environment. It is always much more than the profit you can make off the cause. The manager had thrown $13 million to clean up a $4 million piece of property owned by the city of Olympia. Why is Thurston County taking responsibility for this? I thought they were supposed to clean it up first before they sell it to someone else. Indian Creek, that runs underneath the property on Plum, is at 8-foot elevation. The elevation of the property is at 22 feet. There is a 14-foot of fill over the culvert. Without a soils test, you are clueless on the soils used for the fill. The environment is, again, more important, but profit is most important to you. Next to the property on the corner of Plum and Union is a gas station, which is listed as a contamination site on geodata, which currently contains soil and groundwater. How much contamination is acceptable? My answer, 0. Thank you.
Thank you. Shelley Dilworth, followed by Mr. Jan Tibetan.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
I'm here today, again, to talk about this courthouse, the need for the courthouse versus our need to improve on what we have currently. I do stand with the people that have talked before me that we need to look at a better solution. Not only at a better solution for a building and the cost of that, but we have in-house issues that we need to address. I'm here today because not from my personal experience that I've been addressing you on, but from a business experience. I sent out our clients to come to this office and do as we were directed to do, ask the questions that need to be asked about what can be done on their property based off of the information we were given. Again, my clients, who is now affecting our business, not by hundreds of dollars, by thousands of dollars, were told the wrong information, given the roundabout, and I had to come up here to get clarification. That's not good business practice. That's not effective communication. That is not running this office the way it should be. I've addressed these issues before on a personal level. Now I'm addressing them on a business level. And they're issues that need to be dealt with and dealt with above getting a new $300 million building. You have to fix the current problems before you can take on new problems. That's what needs to happen first. Get your backyard in order before you go looking to somebody else's. That's what I came to say today. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Mr. DeVetten, excuse me, followed by Steve Brooks, Chief.
My name is Jan DeVetten. I live in Rochester. I've been there for about 50 years. I attended the agenda setting meeting this morning and listened intently to your briefing on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service letter regarding your HCP to protect and preserve the gophers. I listened carefully. I was hoping that you would say something about the process that is in place at the present time. Some time ago, 2 or 3 years ago, you said that an applicant has 3 ways that he can proceed once that they have found gophers on his property. One is to work with the county, and the county will work with U.S. Fish and Wildlife. One is to work directly with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and then to sit and wait. Number 3, to sit and wait until the county plan is approved. Therefore, I listened carefully, and I heard your concern about the impact on citizens. Well, I didn't hear anything directly about those of us that are in the middle of the process and that is getting the answer from Fish and Wildlife Service. We are not going to take your application. We're not going to work on it. We don't have staffing and we don't intend to do anything about it. We will acknowledge that we have received it, but we will not staff it. Now, they make the statement that they have a policy decision, that no policy decision has been made that prevents them from accepting individual plans, HCPs, but they're not going to staff it. This is one and the same thing. It's just, we go around and around and around. And it is really frustrating, and I hope that you will, I'm going to proceed, prepare an HCP. I'm not against the HCP preparation, but I am against taking that process away from us when we are halfway into it for some of us. That's spending money and there's no end in sight. And I think when the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has made a commitment, I assume it was a commitment when you published it in the paper that the interim process we could work directly with U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Since that process has collapsed, I think it's your responsibility to stand up for the citizens and let Fish and Wildlife know that you expect them to move forward on those applications. I have a little story I'd like to tell you. I once worked as state park director, and I sat in negotiation with the Army Corps of Engineers. And I was really frustrated. I know what you're up against. I dealt with the federal government before. And I sat there and I listened to the colonel, and then I said, that's not fair. And he said to me, Jan, who the hell told you it was going to be fair? You might as well accept it when you work for the federal government. You're going to get the short end of the stick.
Thank you, Mr. Tibetan. Chief Steve Brooks.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Steve Brooks. I live in Lacey, Washington, and I'm a fire chief for Lacey Fire District 3, and also have the privilege to serve as the president of the Thurston County Fire Chiefs Association. And it's in that role that today I stand before you to just express the support and appreciation for your consideration of an item that's on your agenda later in the meeting regarding the sales tax measure for TCOM for support of our radio infrastructure for the 911 system. I've had the privilege over the past, I believe now, almost 3 years, along with many of my peers in the room, to serve on a steering committee that has worked comprehensively with the TCOM staff, and I want to commend both the staff and that group for the detailed analysis that's gone into the work to identify what our current state is, and more importantly, where we're headed as a community and the gaps that exist to get us there. And so I believe that the work that has been done there lays a strong foundation for what's needed to improve our infrastructure, improve the radio system, and I believe that the plan that is being laid out is one that we as a community of public safety and first responders and Thurston County at large can be proud of. I'm always sensitive to the fact that when we go out and ask the citizens for increases in revenue, that comes at a cost. And so we are very mindful of that, and I believe that the work that's been done again, is something that we can be proud of and defend. And I just want to commend to you that there is no more important or critical issue that crosses jurisdictional boundaries or disciplines in public safety. Both we and our partners in law enforcement are finding critical points of failure or challenge in our current radio system. I believe that the 40 years that it's been in service and operating demonstrates that we've done everything we can to maintain its viability, but that it has certainly reached the end of its useful service life. And so we would really appreciate your consideration of this measure, and we look forward to the opportunity to make the case to the citizens to why this would be a great investment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That exhausts the list where folks have signed up. If anybody would like an opportunity to address the board, please come forward. Council member from Tenino, John O'Callahan, please come on up, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it, even though I'm not on the list. Had not planned on making the announcement today, but we have a very opportune time here. As some of you know, for the last 3-4 years, we've been putting on what's called a First Responders Potluck Barbecue. It's strictly to say thank you to all the men and women that put on a police uniform or a fire uniform and that protect us every day and every night. It's on September 14th from 1 to 11. It's going to be from 1 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's going to be pony rides, so if you have little ones, bring them as well. It's a family event. It is a potluck, so everybody bring a little bit of something. There's going to be hot dogs, hamburgers. I provide all that stuff. We'll have a cake that commemorates both police and fire departments, and we'll have music. And it's, again, just to say thank you to all of you guys and gals and both fire and police. I don't think hardly anybody ever says it enough. Our commissioners have all been to at least one of them. One of the important things that I stress and I insist on is that there is no politics during that. No campaigning, nothing like that. And Ty can attest to that. Again, thank you, Ty, for taking all that stuff off from last year. Thank you very much for the time, and we got plenty of time left. Shall I vamp a little? Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Would anybody else like to address the board? Seeing none, okay, we're moving on. Thank you. County manager's update. Do you have anything, sir?
Yeah, a quick update, and this is related to public testimony you received last week from Mr. Powell, Mr. Blazer, and Mr. Costeros. All three provided testimony. They would like to donate man hours as well as equipment available to them to do some improvements here at the courthouse. We secured some specific information from them, and the assistant county manager is going to be reaching out to them to get more specifics. And as soon as we get additional information, we'll bring that information back to the commissioners. And that's all I have for you.
All right, questions or comments of the county manager?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Ramiro. That takes us to agenda item number 3, the consent items A through E.
I would move that we approve consent items A through E.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve consent items A through E. Any discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. Department items. Agenda item number 4, IT, Information Technology, authorized increase over the previous approved contract amount for a certain project. Dennis. Good afternoon, Dennis.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So for the first
Will you
item.
introduce, the first item, introduce yourself, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
you.
Dennis Osorio, Thurston County IT Department Director. The first item is for the juvenile, Family and Juvenile Court Cabling Upgrade, Project 25563. On September 4th, 2018, the Board of County Commissioners approved a contract with INSEE of Tacoma for recabling the Family and Juvenile Court Building, not to exceed $152,312.99. During the course of this project, 3 main change requests exceeded the authorized contract amount by $7,736.15. As a result, the IT department is seeking an increase of the contract not to exceed $160,049.13, which includes the new change requests. The extra costs will be funded through the IT reserve fund of 5260.
Okay. Any questions of Dennis?
No.
No, sir.
Nope. Thank you.
And I might point out, we've had several discussions on this in prior work sessions. Are we ready
Yes,
to
sir.
proceed?
Yep.
I would move to authorize the Information Technology Director to increase the previously approved contract amount associated with project number 25563, Family and Juvenile Court Cabling Upgrade, by $7,736.15 for a total of $160,049.13.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the IT director to increase the previous approved contract. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and motion carries. Thank you, Dennis. And the next one is 4B, authorize the IT director to advertise an RFP.
Do I need
Go
to
ahead.
introduce again?
Yes.
This is, good afternoon, Commissioners. Dennis Osorio.
We got that part.
Oh, IT Department Director. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I need to do it every time. So in 2016, the IT Department here at Thurston County contracted with a consultant, Zico, to develop a modernization plan for the county's aging application systems. 2 of the main application systems identified were the HR payroll and financial systems. On July 25th, 2018, IT, along with executive sponsors from the Auditor's Office, Human Resources, and the Budget Office, briefed the county commissioners on establishing a project to pursue a comprehensive ERP system. Over the past year, a county project team made up of subject matter experts has been working with consultants from the Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA, to identify requirements for an ERP system for the county. All offices and departments were included in the ongoing discussion to make sure all business needs were considered. The project is expected to take between 18 and 24 months, and we're looking to ask for release of the RFP, and we will be coming back to, again, ask for a contract, to enter into a contract later on once the RFP is completed.
Okay, questions?
No, just a comment that we've had many work sessions on this particular topic, and maybe that's why there's no questions.
Anything? Exactly. So is there a motion?
I would move to approve the Information Services Director to advertise a request for proposal, RFP, for a enterprise resource planning system.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to enter into or advertise for an RFP. Any further questions? No?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Dennis, very
All right.
much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Agenda item number 5, Central Services, entering into a 5-year tenant lease with Thurston Mason BHO. And there's Michael.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
Michael Crow. I'm the lease coordinator for Thurston County. I'm coming before you today to ask you to approve the lease for Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization. They lease county-owned space at 3285 Ferguson Street Southwest in Tumwater, Washington. The TMBHO operates the Thurston Mason Mental Health Triage Center at this location. This lease formalizes and replaces existing interlocal service agreements and lease rates for the use of the facility. The lease contains an initial 5-year term, and with at the request of the TMBHO, they could have an additional 5-year term to the year 2029. The rental rate, which includes a level of service for the facility maintenance, will be $13,084.75 per month during the year of 2019. The rate in 20 and in future years will be established by the facilities manager and presented to the board for adoption during the budget process. The implementation of this lease aligns with Strategic Plan 1, improve health outcomes for all, and Strategic Plan Initiative 2, improve community health and wellness and safety. And I can answer any questions if you have any.
Questions?
No.
Question?
No, sir. Again, that we have had many work sessions.
All right, so motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to authorize the interim Central Services Director to sign a 5-year tenant lease with Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization, LLC, for $13,084.75 per month, with an option for a 5-year extension for space located at 3285 Ferguson Street Southwest, Tumwater, Washington.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to enter into to sign a 5-year tenant lease with the TMBHO. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Agenda item number 6, the county manager, resolution of intent.
Thank you, Commissioners. The proposal before you is the result of legislative action. In 2019, during the regular session, the Washington State Legislature approved and the governor signed a substitute House Bill 1406 that will be related to Chapter 338 of the laws of 2019 related to affordable and supportive housing. This act allows cities and counties to increase the amount of sales and use tax the jurisdictions retain from the state to be used as a matter of investment for affordable and supportive housing. The taxes authorized under this act are subtracted from the sales tax the state already collects here in Thurston County. I just want to make a point. This resolution before you and any future actions related to substitute House Bill 1406 will not, I repeat, will not result in increasing to the sales and use tax to the citizens of Thurston County. The revenue of this tax may be used for rental assistance, acquiring, rehabilitating, or constructing affordable housing, or funding the operations and maintenance costs of new units that supports the affordable and supportive housing initiative. The county may use a maximum amount of 0.0146% of the sales tax the state already collects in Thurston County. And there's a lot of variations within the new law. Each jurisdictions have many different options, meaning the cities may have different options as to how they can access this particular opportunity the legislature has put in front of us. The substitute House Bill 1406 authorizes the county and cities to enter into interlocal agreements for the purpose of pooling the tax monies received, pledging these taxes to bonds issued by one or more parties to the agreement and allowing the proceeds in accordance with the interlocal agreement stated above. Thurston County intends to use the tax monies in collaboration with the cities as means to fully leverage the resources under Senate Substitute House Bill 1406. As a matter of background, Thurston County, for every 100 extremely low-income households, there are only 15 units available and affordable. 50% of renters are cost burden paying more than 30% of their income in rent, and 20% of the renters are severely cost burdened by paying more than 50% of their income. The county is currently experiencing a homeless crisis and does not have a sufficient affordable housing supply to meet the current population needs and projected growth over the next 20 years, and has determined that imposing the sales tax and use tax offered by this bill will at least start addressing the needs in the Thurston County region. There are a couple of steps the county needs to take in order to access this opportunity. The first is for you to, the legislative authority to approve a resolution of intent. And this resolution is what is before you, where you will be adopting and authorizing a maximum capacity of this taxation, which is, again, 0.0146% of the sales tax the state collects. The next step in the process will be for you to consider adoption of a legislation authorizing the maximum capacity of the tax, and those are the means and methods the county can access and get the revenues associated with this taxation. The tax, as stated on this new bill, expires 20 years after the tax is first imposed, so it has a 20-year duration. I will open up for any questions. Also, your Director of Public Health and Social Services, Shelley Slater, is here. I will give her the floor if she wants to add additional information related to this matter.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Shelley Slaughter, Director of Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. One of the programs that we administer within our department is the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention. And with your support and authorization, each year we have an opportunity in Thurston County to invest up to $7 million to benefit people experiencing housing instability and in need of supportive services and social services in our community. Despite this great investment and the many amazing people working together on this issue, last year's point in time, or excuse me, 2019, this year's point in time homeless census revealed that we have over 800 individuals currently experiencing homelessness, with an estimated 1,000 people living without shelter. This includes children, families, individuals, and the big driver of what we hear from people in this situation is the lack of affordable housing. You heard from Ramiro the statistics on our affordable housing shortage that we have here in Thurston County. And this resolution, I believe, gives our community and local governments a tremendous opportunity to address the affordable housing shortage and an innovative way to reduce homelessness in our area. So I strongly support this resolution, and we are committed to helping support this effort along with our regional partners to address this issue, which Thurston County citizens cited last year as their #1 concern. And again, I'll just reiterate what Ramiro stated. I think one of the greatest opportunities in House Bill 1406 is that there's no impact to our local taxpayers. This is going to be a tremendous benefit and opportunity for us to increase affordable housing stock over the next 20 years and meet our significant growing population.
Any questions or comments?
No, again, we've had quite a few discussions on this topic.
Anything?
I just point out that Ramiro might have said it, I can't remember if you covered it, but there's a piece in the resolution that expresses our further intent to work collaboratively with all the jurisdictions in the region to create maximum benefit to this money, because the different jurisdictions can select different levels, but we know that we can get the biggest bang for the buck, so to speak, if we work together. We've created a regional housing council to do that. It's going to cover several different issues, but this is going to be one of them. And so it's a good opportunity, and I hope we're able to realize it to its fullest.
And my only question is, do we have an estimate of what that amount of money that we would be retaining would be?
Yes.
You may have said it already.
Yeah, and going back to Commissioner Menzer, yes, the resolution before you has an intent to coordinate with the cities to leveraging these resources related to this bill net revenues. Speaking of the estimated revenues, and again, depending on how the formulation the cities may access, may not access, but just to give you an example, as an overall, if the 0.0146% materializes to the maximum amount, that will represent at a county-wide region that will include the cities at about $810,000 a year. That is probably the estimated amount. On the lower end, which is half of that percentage, which is 0.0073%, that will probably generate about $405,000 a year. And then you extrapolate that to the 20 years. And there may be variations. Obviously, the sales tax and the revenues associated with that varies. And so the actual revenue on this particular proposal may be something in between those two numbers. And again, depending on how the cities may take an action related to this bill.
And that's about $12 million over the 20 years.
You can probably say that $12 million in the next 20 years, and that presents great opportunities as to how we as a region can probably see this opportunity to better leverage the funding.
Perfect. Thank you. Anything further?
No, sir.
Okay, do a motion.
I'd just like to reiterate, it's been said several times, this is not a new tax. It is a tax that's already been collected, and we're going to be able to retain a small portion of that. I would move to approve a resolution declaring the intent of Thurston County to adopt legislation to retain a portion of the sales and use tax currently collected by the state in Thurston County for affordable and supportive housing in accordance with Substitute House Bill 1406, Chapter 338, Laws of 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt legislation to retain a portion of the sales and use tax currently collected by the state. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
Romero. That takes us to 6B, which is the ballot measure to improve emergency communication systems in Thurston County. And I see we have fire and safety in the House, as well as former County Commissioner Judy Wilson is here. And I'm going to presume in support of. And so with that,
yes,
who's going to frame this?
I would like to invite Mr. Keith Fleling to the podium. He is the Executive Director of TCOM 911, and he will give you background related to this proposal before you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Keith Llewellyn. I'm the Executive Director at Thurston 911 Communications. Thank you for hearing us today. This measure that you're about to consider putting on the ballot in November is vital. It's critical to the continued operations and replacement of the public safety radio system here in Thurston County. As the chief so eloquently spoke earlier, this system is over 40 years old. It's a VHF analog system which has reached its capacity, and it does not cover as well as it should for our public safety responders. And it is also not as interoperable with our neighbors in Pierce County and Washington State Patrol as it should be. In replacing the radio system, we will address all of those issues: increased capacity, better coverage and better interoperability with our neighbors in the public safety communities around us. It'll also address increasing operations capacity within TCOM 911 to administer the emergency communications system. The timing of this is very important. We are arguably behind the 8 ball on replacing this system. We started this effort in 2015, and we are here today at a very critical moment to put this before the voters of Thurston County, and we ask your support in that effort. Urgency is of the utmost importance as we are having day-to-day issues with communications coverage, and as the train derailment in 2017 pointed out to us, we have a need to have better communications with our neighbors, both in JBLM, Pierce County, Washington State Patrol, and others. This new system will address those issues. So with that, I'm going to ask your support for the resolution that would place a measure on the ballot in November to ask the voters of Thurston County to approve an additional 0.1% for emergency communications. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Before we get to questions, there's people in the audience on both sides, fire and safety. Does anybody else want to address or speak to it? Okay. Do you have any questions or comments?
Well, I see Keith brought his predecessor along with him for backup, Mr. Quackenbush. He's been through this before, but I guess we know where he stands. I guess I'll just let it go at that.
Okay. Questions or comments?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thank you then.
Thank you.
So we've been through this over the last couple of years. So is our motion?
I would move to submit to provide for the submission to the qualified electors of the county at a special election to be held on November 5th, 2019, of a proposition authorizing the imposition of a sales and use tax at the rate of an additional 0.1% for emergency communication systems and facilities pursuant to Chapter 82.14 RCW, and setting forth the text of the ballot proposition.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to submit or provide for the submission of qualified electors of the county for the 911 sales tax increase. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Absolutely. That motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll move to the commissioners reporting on what you did over the last week. Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
Most of my activities last week had to do with Capitol Lake and the cleanup of Capitol Lake, and trying to make sure that we get a complete picture of the cause of the problem at Capitol Lake. And that cause is going to take a complete analysis of what is taking place from the headwaters of the Deschutes River to where it goes into Capitol Lake. For the last 50 years, the timber industries have been utilizing helicopters to put thousands of tons of chemicals in the forest in the areas of the headwaters. And it's a common practice. As I say, they've been doing it for 50 years. I think we need to figure out if there's an impact in one fashion or another before we move forward with cleanup in Capitol Lake, because we just don't have all the facts. And I like to find all the facts before we move forward on public policy. So that's about most of my week was tied up on. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner Menser.
Attended the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative meeting in Tenino. Got a great report about all the activity in Tenino, and a report back from our, as Commissioner Hutchings reported, about our conference on branding and from the Visitors Convention Bureau. I sit on the IT Authority, and we are looking very carefully at electric buses, and we had a meeting with Pierce County Transit to to pick their brains about what's working, what's not working with their electric buses. It's a complicated issue. Our authority is committed to doing it as soon as it's responsible, but we have, there are so many questions about the buses themselves. The company that's most trusted is still about to roll out their new bus, and everybody kind of wants to wait for that. And then there's a bunch of infrastructure changes that would have to happen in order to get the buses charged and fully integrated within the transit system. So that's something that we're working on an ongoing basis. But it was a great meeting with Pierce Transit to hear a real reality check on how it really works. I attended the Griffin Neighborhood Association Community Picnic. Saw the assistant fire chief of the Griffin Fire Department get dunked a whole bunch of times in the dunking booth. That was pretty cool. And just wanted to let folks know that I will be out of the office next week attending a conference on behalf of Intercity Transit regarding sustainability and transit system development. There's a whole bunch of great topics that are directly relevant to things that we're working on here at IT. So I'm excited for that, and I will miss next week's board meeting.
Are you taking the bus to that conference? I don't know where it is. Thank you. I want to thank my seatmates, Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Menser. I'm eternally grateful for picking up the slack for me last week, as I was out last week for loss of a family member. And what a great way to come back yesterday than going out to Lacey Elementary School. The YMCA had a reading to kids program, and I read the alphabet. I was eating the alphabet A to Z. I didn't realize how long 26 letters could actually be with an attention span of kindergartners like this. And it was painful, but it was a lot of fun. And so that was a great way to kind of get back into it. But these guys picked up the slack from boards and committees to Lake Fair Parade and everything else, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And that's all I have. So now I'm turning to the county manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. Let me walk you through your upcoming schedule for the next week, where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Starting tomorrow, Wednesday, July 24, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the capital projects report. You may find this very interesting because it's the first briefing of this type where the staff is going to give you a status of all the different capital projects that we have going in the county. At 10 in the morning, you have a tabletop exercise where we'll be validating the COOP plan here in the Commissioner's office. Thursday, July 25th, 9 in the morning, you will have a briefing related to the county's 2019-2020 general liability and property insurance policy renewal. At 10:30, you will have your regular commissioners check-in, and I will have an agenda 24 hours in advance. Nothing on your combined schedule on July 26th, nothing on your combined schedule on Monday, July 29th, and you will be coming back, at least Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Hutchins, to review the agenda on Tuesday, July 30th for the afternoon board meeting. That's all I have for you.
All right. And is there anything for the good of the order?
No, sir.
Nothing. Then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all, folks, very much for coming in.